All right.
Hello.
I think that's it.
That's it? We're all done.
We just did it.
Thanks so much for tuning in.
Sorry, we're a minute or two late. We knew we were gonna have technical difficulties. You just can't ever anticipate exactly what those technical difficulties are. But I am Ryan, and this is Kai.
Hello.
And this is Demos in the Dark. Should I cue the fancy?
Yeah, let's get fancy.
Okay, here we go.
Hello?
Lesson learned there. All right, hey, so thank you for all of you who happen to be watching at this, but this is the first time we have done this.
Yep.
You're probably asking who this guy is. This is Kai. He's a longtime friend of mine. We have played music together a lot for years.
Mm-hmm.
We worked together briefly.
Now we just send each other pictures of guitars and pedals.
Yeah,
mostly. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah, we kind of, I think when it kind of comes down to it, like you and I can probably tell each other, what our current gear lineup is, but we couldn't even talk. Like, do you have a significant other?
I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, Hannah. I love you.
So we talk about gear quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so that's why he's here. And he's just better looking than me. So, eye candy, Kai.
That's me.
All right.
This is the last you'll hear me speak.
Yep.
I just sit here for the whole time.
All right, and so tonight we are thrilled because our first guest that we have on
Wait, who gets to be first?
Somebody has to be first. And so in 2002, 2003, somewhere around that era, I was 22, 23, and there was a band that put out a really great record, and that band is called Phantom Planet. And back then we had these things called compact discs, and I nearly wore out my Phantom Planet compact disc. And so I got to know their guitarist Darren a little bit on Instagram, and he agreed to jump on this potential tire fire. And brought with Alex Greenwald. So I am super stoked to bring them on right. Hey!
What's up?
There we are.
Oh. Hello.
You guys got...
Oh, there we
go.
Got it.
Hi, Alex. How are you?
I just...
Doing all right.
Darren, will you lean in here a little bit? I just right off the bat, I don't know. Oh yeah, just to your let's see, your right. Yeah, so I went in there. I just want to talk about how good looking these fellows are.
They are good looking dudes.
That's like kind of my main. That's really the whole point of this podcast.
Yeah.
Is this a podcast?
No, I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
It's a live cast.
It's one of them talkies.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, just right off the bat, I want to tell you that I watched your entire Universal Studios tour the other day, and I got about halfway through, and I was like, "Fuck him,"
right?
Because I'm like, now I'm in it. Like I am in this now, and I'm invested in this Universal Studios tour. But it was riveting.
Yeah.
I
thought that people who didn't or wouldn't get a chance to ride the tram could ride it in real time with me. And I got away with filming and being able to not look at my camera and actually experience the experience at the same time.
Excellent. Was that a GoPro situation? Did you just kind of attach it? Right here?
I
get the luxury of watching.
I just put it like near my side, and then where I was looking, I would just turn.
All right.
Beautiful. No, I'm just picturing watching you at Universal Studios. Like I'm on the tram as well, and there's a guy just like full body pivoting. everywhere.
Yeah, I didn't give a shit.
Well, weren't people also separated by road?
Yeah, I was in the front. But it definitely saw me.
Yeah, you got. I mean, if you're gonna ride the tram, you might as well be right at the front. You can talk to the. Is there a driver?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This.
I don't know how automated these things are.
This tour driver was amazing.
Yeah,
I could tell that just watching the live stream.
yeah.
He was very loud.
That's good. You got to be. I mean, is he a tour guide as well? He's got to have some projection.
I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like this is getting off to a rough start, and it's all my fault. So,
thanks a lot for coming out, guys. We've had a blast. Thank you.
The count just went down.
That's fine.
So you guys, you put out a. Well, first off, for anyone who doesn't know, most of the time, like if anyone doesn't, most of the people I know are roughly my age, so they know who Phantom Planet is.
Yes.
If I talk to someone younger, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm having the guys from Phantom Planet on. They're like, I'm not sure who that is. And then I go, well, they did the theme song for the OC.
You really just have to go, Cala, and they're like, got it.
Yeah.
Which, I'm curious. I don't know if we want to do things in chronological order here, but my main question, as I'm a session guitar player, that's kind of my life in the world, and I'm always so curious about asking people who have those big moments. Like, obviously you put a lot of work into the band and into your music before that, and it's not an overnight thing, but I'm so curious about how your lives were kind of pre that moment and then post that show, and like what that's like for you as a band, as people, as I guess that's it, as a band and as people. Like, how did that change you? How did that change your life? That's what I got for you right now.
That's a good question. I could anecdotally tell you that the band and our manager at the time, Dan Field, had to every single day try to convince me to put the song into the show. I was like super the Nirvana camp of like, that's selling out, no fucking way. But eventually, well, the show's creator, Josh, called me and he's like, I've been a fan of the band since the late 90s. I went to your guys' show at the Whiskey, which is a club on Sunset Boulevard. Very small, famous, but very small. And he was genuine, and I was like, okay, great, that's amazing. Let's do it. Before that song was on the show, it was kind of one of our favorites to play, high energy. Fans really liked it, so we usually put that towards the end of the set when we played live. And after, we kind of kept it at the end of the set, and people, really loved it. But in this case, people in Germany, people in England, people in France, Australia, New Zealand, Japan,
Europe in general,
which was incredible for us because many of us had not been to those places before. And I mean, our tour during that period of time was an adventure. It was crazy. If you've seen like A Hard Day's Night, take out all of the fans and the black and white. We were just moving around and having a really great time. And I don't think we really realized what that show was doing for the song until I feel like I was at a ex-girlfriend's barbecue with their grandparents, and the grandparents met me and asked what I did, and I said, I'm in a band. We just put a song on this show called the OC, and they're like, we watch it. It's California. We love that song. Like, to have grandparents know that song was a real trip for me. Pretty wild. Darren, do you have anything to add, by the way, before I unmute us?
Honestly, not really. I'm not sure I remember what life was like before
California hit. I just remember being a band, playing a lot of shows. I don't know. It didn't feel like things changed that much once California suddenly kind of blew up.
Internally, it did. I mean, we started the band in. I mean, Darren and I were probably playing music with Jason in 9th grade for me, 10th grade for you. Yeah. So like 93? 93 or 94. So like we'd already become kind of a very solid unit, even in the 90s. So when this sort of happened in, what was it, mid 2000s, I guess is what you'd call the
2002.
When it
came out
2004?
2, I think.
That's when our record came out. Are you sure?
I thought the show came out.
Well,
maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was 2002.
Whatever the case may be, we were a pretty solid unit anyway, so internally it didn't change that much. We're just used to since high school playing music together.
Yeah, that's cool. And you guys were hanging out with the one very furry Jason at that point in time too, right?
I think that's how he describes himself.
Yeah, that's yeah. First off, Schwartzman's not watching this,
right?
Even if he was.
No, but it is at the top of his.
It's like his headshot. He'd be like, "I'm a Coppola, you are nothing."
Yeah, I don't know if he has to hand a headshot in a resume at auditions anymore, but it's headshot, furry person, Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah. So.
By the way, when he was like 14, I think he had a full chest of hair. Right? Like
we were amazed. We were amazed at the amount of hormones that guy produced.
Yeah, I'm 42 now, and I don't have any hair on my chest, so that there's something to say, something to be said about that.
Funny thing that both of us noticed, and we kind of want to put you on the spot here, Darren. We noticed that you're the only member of Phantom Planet who does not have a Wikipedia page. And that you are the only one who is not a blue badged on Instagram.
Yeah. And how is this driving a rift between you and the rest of the band?
Well, our drummer. Do I need to?
No, you don't.
Okay, our drummer does not have a blue check mark. Our old guitar player does not have a check mark. I only have 1,600 followers, so I guess I'm just not that big of a deal.
Dang, because I was gonna say
I'm fine with that if that's the case.
You could have thrown in like this is a plot by the Illuminati.
Yeah, I mean, but no, I didn't go there.
You can get that blue check.
How do I get that?
Dig the blue check.
I have a blue check on Twitter. I got it all over my Twitter. And then Wikipedia. I used to have a page on there, and I have no idea why it's not up anymore.
I had it switched to Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the Illuminati and it was all an elaborate plot.
Of course. It's muted.
Maybe.
And notice his pushing. There we go.
I have been telling him we're muted for about 2 minutes.
This is all part of our technical difficulties.
Yeah.
So I got a gear question. So Darren, you and I kind of started to bond over Nash guitars because you are a Nash guitar player. I am a ex Nash guitar player.
Gotta go.
Yep. It's over.
Right, thanks again.
And you also play Surfcaster, which I also
Looking
do
at it right now.
and so I kind of, but you guys used to be all Gibson. Alex, you have remained pretty faithful to the Casino. Is that correct? But even in the 2000s, you were going on TV with Epiphone guitars.
I think I saw an Epiphone SG Junior at some point.
Did you work out a deal with Gibson? Is that how that worked out, or do you just have? I mean, I know people out there who are like, "Screw Gibson, the Epiphones are great."
We had a period of time when Gibson was either loaning us or giving us guitars, which was really sweet of them. I still have a couple of them. It's too heavy to play live, but the BB King model 345. I think that's what it is. 350? Yeah, I'm terrible with this. But you guys asked about the
I don't know.
Epiphone.
Yeah. Oh. Is he coming back?
I
Or is
I
this
have a
it?
good
Oh,
story about
yeah,
this
that's
guitar.
the one. I'm in
Yeah.
love with
And,
that thing.
Should I tell it?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
If you were asking us.
I was.
Look at Darren.
Look at it.
So that guitar, I bought that in, I think, the year 2000 at Guitar Center on Sunset Boulevard. And like, I like fancy, well set up guitars. And when I say fancy, like, you know, they've been put together well by a human being in a good factory. But sometimes I'll just play a guitar where I bond with it, and it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe you're going to the pet shelter and you lock eyes with the dog, even though you didn't want the dog. You have to get the dog. So
How many dogs
I
do you
played
have?
that one I just held up from 2000 to about 2005 or 6
Mhm.
through a lot of the big touring years for us, a lot of our TV performances. And then I loaned it to a friend and they lost it. They lost that guitar and I hadn't seen it. They couldn't find it. And 14 years later, I go to a thrift store and what's behind the counter but my guitar?
No fucking way.
That is
And
unbelievable.
it was so insane. I didn't recognize it at first, and as I got closer and closer, I also have terrible vision, but as I got closer and closer, my jaw dropped, and I was like, holy shit. So I told the cashier, I was like, I think I said, holy shit, that's my guitar. And she's like, so? How do you know?
No,
How
it's
do you know
not.
that? Wait, say it again?
Oh, I was just saying, no, it's
this,
not.
This
It's
is
ours.
This is our guitar.
It's our guitar. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I did, she said, so is there any way you know? And I was like, well, A, those are all my stickers that I put on there, but if you want proof, and I haven't seen the back, I carved a big letter A in the back of the guitar. And so the woman came, grabbed the guitar, turned around.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So the woman behind me in the line was like, oh my God, so many psychic things have been happening to me this week. She's like, you should give that guitar to him for free. And I was like, how much is it? She's like, $25. I was like, I'll pay $25.
You can have 50.
So that's the story, but it's incredible.
Yeah.
They had just put the guitar up for sale an hour and a half before I arrived.
Whoa.
Unbelievable.
If I had gone earlier, I wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah.
If I had gone later, maybe someone bought it. It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy. And the guitar that had been given to them by some old man the night before,
Huh.
after it closed.
Wow.
Some sketchy old man,
Yeah,
for sure.
for real. I don't know if your friend who lost the guitar is watching, but if you are a friend, please log off.
So are you guys, like, in general, like, you know, you meet all different kinds of players out there. You get the ones who are like, I think like us, who are probably unreasonably fixated on gear, and then you get the ones who are just like, nah, I just play what I like, and
I'm
know.
actually good, so I don't have to worry
Yeah,
about it.
I have a family to spend money on and things like that. Where do you guys fall in that? Are you big gear nuts, or are you just kind of like, you know, whatever works? Alex, it sounds like you're kind of like whatever works.
I get most often with instruments like whatever works. I'm not snobby, and you know, like if you're a guitar aficionado, Epiphones aren't usually the top of the line or the first choice for anybody. But I just sometimes I'll play a cheap guitar, and it's no longer cheap once I'm playing it. It's some kind of great relationship that's developing, and yeah, Darren, what do you? I think you're kind of maybe more gear than I am.
I wouldn't say I'm more gear. I would say I'm more obsessed with guitars. Like I like guitars that have low action and like the intonation's flawless, and it just plays and feels like an extension, almost like one of your own limbs, as if you play your own limbs. I think you're more obsessed with like exactly. Yeah. I think you're more obsessed with pedals and gear and definitely production side of things.
Production side of things, I'd say I've collected a few more things than you have over the years.
Yeah, like my pedal board, I have maybe 4 pedals at this point.
Mhm.
I'm not saying you have a huge pedal board, but you definitely have like pedals everywhere and like gear all over the place.
Oh yeah, this one I just got in the mail the other day. Let me unplug it so that people can see.
Oh,
this is
the
one of those
Holy Grail.
coveted little guys.
yes.
That Daft Punk used on the heck is the name of that record? Human After All.
Yeah.
Oh, they use
so I'm
that.
messing around with this guy.
They
a
use
little
that
bit.
exact one.
But yeah, I don't really have.
If you look on the back, it's got a big old DP etched into
Yeah.
it. So love the synth wah. I use it on bass all the time, much to a lot of people's chagrin. I want to hear. I heard, Darren, you've got 4 pedals. I want to know. This is a gear show. What do we got on our boards right now?
If I can remember, well, one of them is just a tuner.
Brilliant.
Okay, cool. One of them is a tuner, a Korg tuner, by the way, the black.
Yes, the pitch black.
It sounds amazing.
Yes, that is. It's the tone is in the
what else do I
hands. The
use?
tone is in the tuner pedal. Those are the things I hear. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yes.
Let's see. I have a Boss. Is it an FC3 or FC2? The gray one has crazy. It's how I get like crazy sustain. Trying to think of songs I use on. We haven't played in so long. Like my memory is kind of shot with that. I have a reverb pedal, which is also a Boss. I'm not sure the. What do you do?
I'm just trying to look at what pedals we have.
Yeah, he's checking to see what pedals we have. And then I use an Ibanez Tube Screamer 808, but it's a reissue. It's not an original that's worth like. Or the original's worth like thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So these are some real working man's pedals.
Yes.
We're talking here. Working person's pedals, right?
Yes.
I
keep it very simple.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
We do
My
have
friend Don. Oh, do you want to say?
We have a question here. We have a lot of questions. I'm sorry. But this one, someone is interested in how the gear perspective changed from pre-success to getting a hit to after 5 years on the road. And I think we kind of touched on that a little bit where, but this kind of ties into a question that I also have, because you guys just put out a record, unfortunately on the same day that the entire country went into lockdown. And the record is incredible. It's one of my faves.
Devastator, check it out.
Yeah, it's super good. And I'm thinking about just the timeline and how the recording industry, not just the industry, but just like the process of recording something has changed so drastically. I mean, a lot of us are, doing stuff in our houses and things like that. I mean, your first big record, I mean, you guys probably did that on ADAT, right? And now everything is significantly easier. Are you like analog snobs? Are you, do you prefer some of the romanticism of the old ways of recording, like everybody going to the studio and doing as many takes as it took to get it, or now with all the kinds of fixes and digital stuff that's going on that is just significantly easier, but some people feel loses the mojo, if you will, mostly just Jack White.
Right.
And so I'm interested in because you do have a long career, and Alex, I do know that you are, kind of a studio nerd, or at least a production nerd. And so how has that been for you, over the course of 30 years,
just about,
just making records in general?
Well, the first 3 albums were recorded to tape.
Okay.
Where the first record, which we recorded in 1997 was, we used Pro Tools for an edit, and it took like 7 hours because nobody knew what the hell they were doing for one edit of like one piece of a song connected to the next one. And since then, Pro Tools has slowly, grown into being a staple of every studio. I'm a big fan of obviously Pro Tools or Logic. They're extremely powerful recording applications. But I do think if you're well rehearsed or you know what you're doing before you start recording, that is extremely helpful for mojo, and not relying on having something to fall back on of, oh, we can fix it in post, or we can fix it later. Obviously you can, but I don't think it's great. It's a great philosophy to enter into a recording session thinking, well, I don't have to put my entire concentration into this, or feeling into this, or I can keep checking my Instagram page, or whatever the story is, because we can fix it later. So yeah, I feel like that's pretty good. And then I don't know, what would you add to that?
I'm just thinking of how the first 3-4 records, how we had pre-production for them all. We kind of knew what we were doing going into it, and going into Devastator, it was like, all right, what songs are going to be on the record? What guitar part? I would go into the studio and I'd look at you and I'm like, what are we doing this time? Like, there was no set thing to play. It was a little nerve-wracking to be in the studio and not be rehearsed and know what we're going to do, but it was also kind of exciting and liberating to be able to not worry about it and to just do it off the cuff,
Yeah, and that's a good example from your end too, because for me, going in knowing that the band hadn't really played together in a while, right. I wanted to show up with as much form and function as possible, or architecture, however you want to put it, song-wise. So the Devastator record was the first time I had made demos for each of the songs, and recorded them in Logic, and then we took those and bounced them into our actual recording album session. And then we played to that. But on my end, I felt like that was really good because A, the band had already heard these demos, so they were comfortable with the idea. And then that kind of gave a solid base for all of us to experiment on top, what parts we were going to play. Maybe even it was kind of easier to try and edit of, let's trim the fat. Maybe this part of the song lasts a little too long. We can edit that out before we even start recording, so that it's fluid and we're doing it like the way a bunch of musicians, in my opinion, should.
Yeah. Well, you're a really great writer, Alex. It's one of the things that I was telling, we went out to dinner beforehand, and I was telling him that throughout high school and most of my teenage years, I was very much into just jazz and the Grateful Dead. Like, that was that's pretty much it. And I got to college, and in college it was like this whole new world of music opened up to me, and that was a really cool time to kind of start waking up to music, because a lot of really, really important records came out in that time period, like Yankee Hotel Foxtrot and all these great records. And and I started diving down the hole with some of the more indie, avant-garde kind of stuff, and I really liked the artistic factor of it. But at the same time, I was missing some of the pop sensibility that I think that a lot of stuff in that genre was actually trying to buck. And then I heard you guys, and I was like, oh, borrowed chords and all these great fun pop tricks are in there in this format that is accepted by the hipster kids, and I can totally geek out to this, and I really, really like it. And so how did you go about, how did your what informed your songwriting? Because it's really smart Like that's the thing that I always kind of come away with as your songwriting is just super smart, but it's hidden. Like how smart it is ends up getting hidden by how accessible it is, which I think is like the Beatles accomplished that, but Steely Dan didn't. Like
they wanted you to know how smart they were.
Yeah, exactly.
And then especially coming off of like the grunge era, which you talked about earlier, like you were the big into the Nirvana thing, and Kurt had a little bit of that, but his chords were all like pretty major and that sort of thing. So like I'm just adding more to your question, like how did you write, and then the confidence to in like the grunge world or grunge fashion era, just be like, we're gonna make well-dressed pop tunes that kind of sound that way. I'm curious about the whole inspiration, top to bottom, for that.
Well, to start with the beginnings, I feel like if you want to call it the pop chords or kind of more melodic representation of music, was kind of an answer to the grunge thing. That was our way of waving the middle finger at what traditional pop music at the time sounded like. I think like on a songwriting level, I like when there's a lot of facets to anything, any arts, any, if there's subtlety, if there's ambiguity, if there's highly refined structure, if all that stuff can fit in one place, I feel like it gives it more life and more abilities, more ways to be enjoyed by people if they choose to enjoy it. Also, thanks for the compliment, like about the songwriting. I feel like for me, if I have a sentiment lyrically in mind, I either usually try to pursue it very heavily with the chords, or I try to juxtapose different chords with the that feel different than the point I might be trying to get across. Just because that does add another layer or level of interpretation or meaning. And I'm a huge Beatles fan, so in some sense that is part of my musical DNA. And
you were born on the same day as John Lennon.
That's true. So same year too.
That,
yeah. I thought you look great. You look phenomenal, by the way.
Wait, hold on. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying you look phenomenal.
Yeah, you look,
given your age.
Thank you. I inherited my mother's mitochondria.
I was gonna ask if they were hers.
Yeah. Well, for those of you out there that don't know, the mitochondria powerhouse is the cell.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's the only thing I remember. Really, the only thing anyone remembers from biology courses. And
that George Lucas bastardized it for midi-chlorians.
I did not know that, but yours are off the charts, may I say? Yeah.
And I just killed a whole room full of Jedi children.
Yeah.
It was for a movie.
Yeah. No.
Anything I could add about the chords or vibe to the songs is that a lot of the time when I was writing stuff, I kind of imagined, people say in my mind's eye, but like in my mind's ear, if I may, imagine what these songs would be like for us, the band, to play, and if it would be powerful and fun for us and get into it, and then what it would be like for an audience to listen to it. And that's kind of the choice that I made.
Did the longevity of the songs ever come into play? Like, were you ever kind of like, I want this to be something that people like that will still be relevant in 20 years, not like a Steel Wheels kind of.
How dare you?
Thing.
We always tried not to wrap the songs in too much fashion. I'm pretty sure some of our parents look back at certain photos from the 80s and wish they didn't wear those huge shoulder pads. Where like, I feel like if it can be timeless that would be a huge honor, and we'd be extremely grateful for it. But timelessness for me means it's more pure, it's more universal, it's honest. Yeah, I mean, it's the, not to get too deep, but the human experience has kind of been the same for the whole time humanity's been around. And if you can click with those things that happen for every individual, then I feel like that's where communication and art and music and life intersect.
So nice. This is kind of in an effort to tie that back to what we were previously talking about with recording technology, and then Darren, this will be for you as well. Through your albums, and you said you kind of started even with just the middle finger to the Nirvana grunge thing with your first one, and then there's kind of I know you've stated that your hope is to have each album be something new as far as a sound, or like a new center of ideas and all of that sort of thing. So I'm interested in how the honesty that you're looking for and the novelty that you're looking for in each creative endeavor intersect, and then how the technology has influenced that as well, and then for Darren, on all of that as well. You can. I would love it if you would answer these first parts as well, because they pertain to you. But as a guitarist, kind of sideman guitarist myself, and all of that sort of thing, I'm really interested in how you try to get into Alex's musical brain when you two are writing and come up with guitar parts that serve the song really well, as they do.
Very good questions. A lot of the time, we mute it.
Got you.
Perfect. There we go. Most of the time, when Alex brings in a new song to the band or plays this demo, a lot of the time, actually, I'm here with him and I can hear what he's doing. Even today, you're constantly writing, so there's like thousands of songs that you've written.
It keeps the demons from speaking.
I'm sure it does. We'll kind of go over something. I'll get a basic idea of what the chord structure is of the song, the backbone of the song. And oftentimes, rather than me taking a song that Alex has written, or a chord progression that he's written, and going home and writing a part to it, Alex and I will sit here and kind of jam on it, so to speak. And Alex will hear something, or maybe I'll hear something, and we kind of combine what's going on there, and it just kind of evolves into a part. I feel like a lot of the time I'll come up with something, and you always are able to hear things in the Alex way, and kind of be like, no, hit this note instead, and then it'll kind of morph and change into the part that it becomes, so to speak.
Yeah, and like the band's always been collaborative in that way from the get-go. Also, you asked about, what was the question?
Yeah, so I had asked about, how you've talked about two things, kind of your effort to not necessarily be reactive to the thing that came before, but to keep moving forward, and then also to have an undercurrent of your, honesty and like human truth of experience and all of that. And I'm curious about how those two intersect for your songwriting process, because to be honest to yourself and to the process and pursue novelty and novelty is a trash word for some people, but to pursue something new or to make progress in your sound or things like that, those are two very hard things to make mesh. So I'm curious about how you go about doing that.
They can be hard to match. I feel like for me, getting inspired to finish a song, and this might sound really stupid, but it has to give me cool vibes. If it doesn't sound cool, and cool is really open to interpretation. I'm not talking about it's wearing shades and driving a convertible.
Ryan.
But I usually get inspired by, and the reason why the records don't sound the same is like I'm listening to different music, and the stuff that I'm making now doesn't sound like Devastator, which doesn't sound like Res Dead, etc., etc. But I feel like, and this might be me just being a snob about my own music, but if it's the music isn't inspiring me, I don't want to finish. I don't want to write lyrics over it or finish it. So. Yeah, I don't know if that answers the question, except that the two kind of go hand in hand, and if one doesn't work, then it either needs to get edited or changed so that it can continue to grow with the lyrics and with music. No, but you know what? I like it. I'll leave it at whatever sounds cool.
Yeah.
To me.
I like that. I think that's great. You never had to expound on that. I think we all were like, yeah, that checks. So what's cool now? What's inspiring the both of you now?
Should I go, Darren?
I mean, sure, you can go.
I've had, I don't know if this is going to wind up on a record, but because of Daft Punk breaking up, I got really into trying certain techniques that they used for vocoding or talk boxing. So I got a talk box, which if people who are watching don't know what that is, I'm sure you do, but it's a tube that you can send an amplified signal into, that you put in your mouth, and then when you mouth the words, it sounds like a robot or your instrument is actually speaking and making the formants and the consonants and the
it's how
Frampton
came alive.
It's how Frampton came alive.
Yeah.
But they missed the good joke.
That's okay.
Oh, what was
it? I mean, we can go.
We both at the same time said that was how Frampton came alive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They didn't think it was funny. That's all right. That's all right.
We'll edit that out.
It's live.
It's live.
But the stuff that I've been messing with now, I've been writing a lot of stuff on the piano, which most likely will get translated to guitar. But right now I think I'm going for something that's like whatever the new Californian sound is. It's still kind of LA laid back, driving long distances in traffic sound.
In the shade.
Hard to explain, but there's like we have a half album of songs, music-wise, probably a third lyrics so far, and I'm psyched about it. But who knows how much it'll change as the wheels keep turning.
You've always said too. I don't know if I'm expounding on this further, or if this is just kind of easy to say, but in regards to each album sounding differently and being honest during those times when we're recording the records. You once said in an interview, or in many interviews probably, that each record or each song is sort of like a snapshot for that period of time. So I feel like as long as you're being honest during the time that you're making, I don't know how I'm trying to say this here. It's like taking a photograph. It's hard not to be honest because you look how you look, and that's what comes across. Does that make any sense?
That makes sense to me.
I don't know if I'm saying it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it too.
Yeah.
So we got about we super appreciate your time, and we got about 15 minutes left. And so my next question is: so you had this record come out in 2020. The world fell apart. The world is starting to reopen. I noticed you guys have booked one gig.
Ryan wants to know if we can open.
2? Okay, 2. Book 2 gigs. Yeah, can we come open for you? Are we gonna tour this record? Are we gonna do the full promo on it and give it the treatment, or are we moving on to the next thing?
I think we will. We just have to figure out how we're gonna. I think we'll probably do a re-release of Devastator with some new songs on it. maybe ones that kind of help bridge the sound from Devastator to the next record. And we're also planning on doing a special tour I'm not allowed to talk about yet.
You
In
can tell us, we're off air.
2022.
Yeah. This is all off air.
Yeah.
All right. So good. Well, good. And you know what? I hope you come to Minneapolis.
Yeah, please do.
Because we will be there.
Yeah.
Ryan and I.
Ryan's got bunk beds that he and I usually sleep in, but you guys can take them.
So my second question, these are just kind of like wrap up questions before we go. And if anyone on the comment section has any dying questions, put them in now, and
I'll get really close to the screen to
pick one.
See what they are.
So for both of you, what was the last record you listened to? Be it, I'm sure it was earlier today. What was the last record you listened to, and what are you kind of like in love with right now?
I can answer first. To be perfectly honest, I have not been listening to any music at all lately. I've been in a very reflective, zen, meditative mood phase lately. I think the only time I've been listening to music for the past many months, probably during most of quarantine, is in my car, and that's pretty much it. So, kind of on purpose. I don't know about you. I'm sure you're listening to a bunch of stuff.
You're about to say a bunch of shit.
Sure was.
Well, I got kind of obsessed with that new Jack Harlow record.
Oh yeah.
Mostly for study, but I enjoyed his lyrics and his flow. Other than that, I've been kind of getting into this goth trap band called Ice Peak.
Wow.
It's got a 3 in it as the E.
The N word too.
We just on repeat. We've been listening to "Wings on My Penis" by Greenwald. It's so good. I think it's Jack Black's son, who was 6 at the time, rapping about praying to God to give him wings on his penis. Highly recommend it.
I think we're closing with a cover from you guys, right?
What else? I mean, I feel like I've been listening to a lot of older funk and like boogie stuff. Which has been fun. Oh, on the spot, it's really hard. It's like going to the supermarket without a list.
What do you listen to? Like, what's the last thing you listen to, and what are you in love with?
The last thing I listened to today is a record I'm mixing, so it's not as exciting. But I've been doing this show in town that is all 50s, 60s, 70s country, and we call it the Old Country Buffet. And so I'm learning like just 100
Lefty Frizzell songs.
Yeah, exactly.
And that doesn't even touch on how many that man wrote.
No. So it's nothing exciting or like new or groundbreaking, but that's it. I just learn songs I have to play. I'm not very exciting. What are you listening to?
I have been rediscovering the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. And
great record.
Yeah. So tough to top that record.
Yeah.
Kai, do you have any closing questions for our friends here?
I want to know if there is a piece of gear I want to know 2 things. A piece of gear that you had that you wish you could get back. Alex, maybe you already have yours. And then your dream piece of gear.
What do we got, Darren?
Dream piece of gear. Okay. What my dream piece of gear is. There is, aside from Nash guitars, which I know we've already stated I'm kind of obsessed with, there's a company called Waterslide Guitars.
Oh, yeah.
They make some wacky, Patrick is the guy's name. He makes some crazy, just crazy pickups. He uses lap steel pickups as the bridge pickups in some of his guitars. They're beautiful. They sound great. I really want to get one, but there's to have one made, it takes up to 6 months, and he has a long waiting list. So that was actually going to be the guitar that I just bought, but since the waiting list was so long, I ended up getting my Nash Strat.
There's so you're talking about getting a cooter caster.
Yes.
is what Water
That
Slide
is the
making.
technical term.
And they have those B benders on them, and there's some kind of faux records, like some faux steel kind of stuff on those records that you could definitely come up with. That would be really cool. We should talk to Patrick.
We should talk to Patrick?
Yeah, and just be like, dude, just give Darren a guitar.
He's here right now. Come on in, Patrick. We got to get Alex's dream piece.
Yeah, Alex, your dream piece of gear, and we'll let you guys get back to your lives that are far more important than ours.
My dream piece of gear at the moment is probably like a nice vocal mic, like a Neumann U67 or 47 or 87. I think I'm saying the numbers right. I could be totally wrong.
Believe you.
What was that thing you were going to get on your SG?
Oh, the Gizmotron. You guys know the Gizmotron?
Yeah, I do know the Gizmotron. Yes.
I got the guitar specifically to put the Gizmotron on, but then I started playing the guitar and I was like, I don't want to mess the guitar up with the Gizmotron.
Oh, look at that thing. Yeah.
I really like the...
I do too. I don't know if I've ever seen a gold SG.
Is that Chicago-based music?
Maybe.
SG, it's an Epiphone too, right?
Yeah, I'm a sucker for Epiphones, it turns out. You guys have outed me. Yeah, Dream Gear would be a really nice microphone, I think. I don't know if there's any pedals. There is probably a pedal, but I cannot think of what it's called or what the company is that makes it. The company makes something called a hologram, I know that, but there's some cool kind of loop.
Yeah, I demoed that one. The hologram microcosm.
So maybe it's...
There's an Infinite Jets as well.
Yeah, that's not...
Is it Big and White? Big and White? Yeah, that's hologram. You should get one. You should get the microcosm. I think is what you're talking about because it has the loop in it.
Yeah.
I did one of the few non-ambient demos of it because I don't know how to ambient. I loved it. I mean, just as a practical kind of like idea factory, kind of thing. It is a great tool. You could probably do great things with that.
Maybe I'll pick that up.
Yeah.
There we go. Ryan, you should talk to...
I'll text somebody about hologram.
We'll get you going.
That I can actually do.
Right.
I can't. Sorry, Darren, I can't get you a Water Slide guitar, but
he'll call hologram people. I'll call Steve Gizmotron, and we'll get that going.
Is this Steve?
No, his last name's not Gizmotron.
Thank you guys, that's awful kind of you. Did you know that Gizmotron was invented by Cream from Tennessee?
By who?
By Godley and Cream of the band Tennessee.
I didn't know that.
So it wasn't Steve.
I love that band.
It wasn't Steve Gizmotron.
All right, well,
it wasn't Gizmotron.
I feel like we have come full circle to the way we started this. Thank you guys so much for your time. It's absolutely thrilling to talk to both of you and to have you guys on this first thing. And
yeah, thanks for your trust and just hopping on whatever this could have been. We really appreciate you.
We didn't burn the place down yet, and there's 3 minutes to go. And to anyone else who is checking this out, go on Spotify and if you haven't spent any time with Phantom Planet, I encourage you to do so because there's a lot there. There's a lot to take in. I feel like it's one of those bands where you can't really put them in you can't put Baby in a corner. You can't put...
Nobody does.
Right. Really smart stuff, really great players, really great band. Your drummer used to be a Minnesota boy. And
yeah.
Yep. I just learned that. And he told me that you guys had the bass player from Jamiroquai for a while.
We had him for a little bit. He's like a close friend of mine, and we played with him on maybe even just once for
the house band show.
Yeah.
Really?
But I've made a lot of music with him, and I put out a solo record in 2015 called Yo, which is Alex Greenwald Yo. And he played most of the bass on that and a lot of the drums. And he's incredible. For anybody who doesn't know Stuart Zender of Jamiroquai, he's like one of the greatest rhythmic. He's definitely a bass player, but he plays drums too. And when he plays them at each other, like he'll put the drums down first. He knows when he's done a fill or laid off of a hi-hat, and he does the same thing with the bass and communicates so well. Super cool. And I wonder if Sam, our bass player in Fan Planet, can't do gigs for any reason. I would definitely call Stuart back in. I mean, he would not only be a first choice for runner-up, but like a dream player.
Yeah.
And whenever your next album comes out, we're going to have you back on, because we didn't even get into all of the other stuff you guys have worked on and all the other things you've collaborated on with other people. Yeah. So please come back if you feel like it. Yeah, you know where to find us.
Yeah. Well, Darren and I will probably end up texting after this anyway.
Perfect.
Yeah. Hey, guys, again, thank you so much. And to everyone here who has been watching, I appreciate your time as always. And next week we're doing two this month.
Yeah.
And so next week, the same time, we're gonna have the guys from Scythe Guitars. And Darren, you being a Nash guy, maybe you want to watch that for a little change of heart. And then we have, and then coming up in July, we have Brian Fallon. And that's exciting. And that's going to be like that. It's going to be lots of swears. And, and then we have Mr. Christopher Benson on as well, to talk about amps. And so it's going to be a good run here if we can keep up doing it as well as these guys did here. So thanks again, Alex and Darren. I appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah, guys, it's been a pleasure hanging out, and thanks for asking good questions.
Hey, thanks, man.
Seriously, that's awesome.
Hey, thank you. We're all out of them, so it'll just be from here on out. Have a wonderful night, guys.
Yeah, thank you
so much.
All right,
thanks, everybody.
You guys.
Thank you guys.
Okay. Bye-bye.